Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again on the same mission, trying to expose some of the ugliness that we as people have to experience here in America and on Earth, and get you to thinking about some replacements that you've been praying for and wishing for and hoping for. And so I've been going back and forth, to and fro, observing things. One of the things that I observed most recently as I was watching an interview with Bill Barr, used to be the DOJ of America's system of government under Donald Trump. Everybody says that he came in doing everything that Donald Trump wanted him to do. In fact, before he became Attorney General, he had written a statement addressing some of the concerns that Donald Trump was addressing before the public. And people were saying that he used that as an audition letter. Anyway, it got him into being the Attorney General of the United States. And the people really didn't like him because they saw that he was favored not to the people of the United States, but favored to Donald Trump. Well, one of the last things that he did before he left office was indicate to the American people that Donald Trump lost the election, that it was not stolen, that he lost it. Donald Trump went mad, fired him, and all hell broke loose. But in this interview, the guy asked Barr about Trump, and he was saying that Trump was really trying to, in essence, overthrow American democracy. And so the interviewer asked him, well, if he was running for president again in 24 and a Democrat, who would you vote for? That's what he asked William Barr. And so Barr said that, well, if Donald Trump was the nominee for the Republican Party and his challenger was a progressive Democrat, he'd have to go with the guy who wants to overthrow the American government. Did you hear that? He actually said it. I'd have to go with the guy who's willing to overthrow the American government. Now, when you first hear him say that, many of us would say, well, okay, now this is how you maintain white supremacy. And see, when we think stuff like that, we're really only expressing the kind of ways we have been taught to think. Like black and white. If it's the black people, it's the white people. See, a lot of people don't understand that teaching is really significant, and it has a very strong impact on people. White people who have been taught that black people were something to be fearful of, they actually believe this, ladies and gentlemen. And they can't help it. This is what they were taught. I was taught through the American experience that natives were savages, that they would take bow and arrows and they would shoot you. They told us this in books. They told us this in movies. When I was a child, I was going through Mississippi with my old man, and he said we were going through an area where natives were, Indians were. As soon as I heard it, I hit the floor of the car because I had been taught that these guys were dangerous. You had to be fearful of them. So I can imagine how white people feel about black people. They used to teach us through television and through other stuff that in Africa, all black people walk around with bones in their ears and in their nose, running around with sticks, hollering, acting crazy. Had most black people just as afraid as Africa as they could possibly be, and African people, because of what we were taught. That is what we were taught. That is why we responded the way we responded. This is why Americans respond the way we respond today, because of the way we have been taught. Donald Trump responds the way he responds because of the way he has been taught. And like Bill Barr wrote a letter talking about Donald Trump before he became Attorney General, Donald Trump, what is he doing right now? He's auditioning with the greater powers. That's why he's always praising Putin. That's why he's always praising these dictators and guys in this authoritarian systems. He's making an application. He wants to be one of them. He wants to be one that walks around and holds his head up bigger than Christ. He wants to be close to God, having the authority to just kill people at his discretion. He wants to be that kind. And so I only want to mention this to you, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to understand this is the way of man. So what I'm basically saying is, yes, Trump is represent hell. Those who are supporting Trump represent hell. The Republican Party represent hell. The Democrats, they represent hell. Those who support the Democratic Party, they represent hell. The Libertarians, they represent hell. The religious organizations on earth, they represent hell. Everything represents hell. Now, there are some good things that people do in every situation. Christians, Republicans, Democrats, and others. There are some good things that they do. But they are the good things that does not have any interference with the work of Satan. It has nothing to do with the work of the devil. And what is the work of the devil? Is to control the earth and the population of the earth, to take over and make the earth the kingdom of hell. That's the mission, to take over and make the earth the kingdom of hell. And everywhere on earth, you see that's what they're trying to do. They say democracy was the last bit ever trying to hold on. But it's under attack now, not necessarily from the outside, but from the inside. And the reason that it's under attack from the inside is because it has not had the kind of strength built around it that would make it able to survive the kind of struggles that it is against now. What I mean by that, it has always been corrupt. America has always been corrupt. It might not have been bad as those other countries that came before it, but it's heading right just like the rest of them, getting worse and worse every day. And here we are with this challenge. It is not, and I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to think. We had, not too long ago, a Me Too movement. Thousands of people gathered in the streets talking about some individual concerns that they had. All of the power that you could imagine was right there on the streets. The power with the ability to move mountains. But what power did they really express? The power to assemble themselves. That's what they did. They assembled themselves. And the reason that they didn't have the power, were not able to exercise the power to move mountains, because their concerns were limited to their concerns. They weren't concerned about the concerns of all those people around them. They were concerned about their concerns. I'm here for my concern. I've been in the state capitals when I've seen them when it's time to deal with the money, talking about their individual concerns, challenging, competing with others for their concerns, their money. And all of that power was right there in the street, being able to make everybody's concern be addressed. With the power that they had right there, and the power that they still got, if they can bring it together, to make all of this stuff work right, work proper, refusing to accept anything that does not work proper. You got to do it like that, because if you accept something that doesn't work proper, your stuff doesn't even supposed to work for you. Now, when I'm coming to you, ladies and gentlemen, like this, it's because this earth was given to humankind. We're not supposed to act like animals. All we have to do, animals sometimes now you bring them home, domesticate them, they can act real nice. In the wild, they're wild. I mean, they're really wild. They live off each other. If they couldn't eat each other, they'd probably be dead. But human beings, they're supposed to be smarter than that, wiser than that. And so this whole big earth was put here with all the other things going on, also for human beings. Knowing what their requirements are for survival, that those resources were put in the earth, on the earth, above the earth. Some of them seen, some of it unseen. Individuals required to have the certain knowledge to be able to cause a manifestation, utilizing those resources, have been put here on the earth with those skills scattered about, to do all of the things that we as human beings can imagine, that we determine are essential for our survival. That was all prepared, that we might live here on this earth in these physical bodies as though we were in heaven. Not worrying about food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, transportation, infrastructure, or anything. Living in peace, being prosperous, living in freedom, living with joy in our lives, our dreams coming true, our needs, our wants, and our desires being met at our leisure. Never having to lie, cheat, steal, to kill, or hate, or be a racist, or bigot, or anything of the sort. Never have to go to war, never have to kill anybody, never have to lie, never have to use one penny, never need a dollar, never need anything like that. All of that comes from man's rule. And everything that sits on this earth today with man's rule, just like we just described it, is responsible, playing a part in it. They ain't doing God no good, but that doesn't mean that God will not reward you. I can say the goodness that you express, you're giving water out to the people that's thirsty, fixing up soup lines for people that's hungry, fixing up a shelter for people that has no place to sleep. That's godly. And I'm sure God will reward you. God is rewarding the nation right now because of what you're doing. He's allowing the nation to continue to exist, going through all the pain and suffering that you're going through, hoping that it will cause an awakening in the masses of the people so we can change and bring to this earth what was originally planned. So, yes, and when you die and you've been good, I don't know what God's going to do for you. I'm not going to try to say what God going to do for you. But I can say this, what we're doing here on earth doesn't do one thing to end the pain, doesn't do one thing to end the suffering, doesn't do one thing to fight the devil and glorify God in such a way that the people will want God and manifest the kinds of things that I just got through expressing to you. No, that won't happen. So my job is to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that regardless of what's going on, it is an expression of Satan. It is an expression of the devil. It is an expression of the will of evil. It's evil expressed by people. And what people? Every last one of us are included. And the only ones that are excluded are those that's being murdered for standing up for all of God's ways. Dr. Martin Luther King stood up for God's way and justice according to the law of the Constitution. Malcolm X stood up for God's way, Allah's way, according to the Quran, and stood up for what was right according to organizations. Because corruption is in everything, and it cost them his life. Now, all the rest of us might not like what's going on in organization. We might not even like what's going on with the Constitution. We might not even like the fact that they're going back trying to take black people back to the beginning. But are we stopping it? Why? Because you don't want to try God. You're trying what they tell you is okay for you to try, and it will never stop anything. Never stop anything. So I guess you got my message for that. I want to leave it at that. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.